Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking an absolutely massive mythological tale. We're talking high-stakes action, severe consequences, and this really fascinating butterfly effect that ends up shaping an entire legendary dynasty. We're looking at a deeply compelling ancient text that shows us exactly what happens when a ruler just completely abandons his post for the sake of personal bliss. It's a story of love, brutal natural disaster, and ultimate redemption. So let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this by looking at how our text actually begins. This whole narrative is framed as this really incredible conversation where the great warrior Arjuna asks a celestial being, a Gandharva, a burning question. Arjuna wants to know the origins of a famous, deep-seated hostility between two immense figures, Viswamitra and Vasishtha. It's a classic setup, right? You have the hero seeking ancient wisdom from a knowledgeable guide, and the Gandharva is more than happy to oblige, promising to recite a legend that is regarded as actual history across all three worlds.
Section 1. A Tale of Origins. To really understand the climax of our story, we first have to establish the sheer scale of this world. The text introduces Viswamitra, the son of King Gadhi. And look, Viswamitra isn't just taking a quiet stroll through the trees. He is described as a grinder of foes, possessing a massive army, roaming through these picturesque landscapes with countless animals and vehicles. It paints a picture of a world where kings and warriors wield an immense, almost overwhelming presence in the wild. But while Viswamitra is roaming the wilderness, the text brilliantly shifts our focus to another monumental figure, and a completely different kind of royal journey.
Section 2. The 12-year romance.
So, the crucial point is how the king handles his royal responsibilities before checking out. After securing the hand of Tapati, who is the daughter of Vivaswat, the newlywed King Samvarana naturally wants to celebrate. He wants to go sport with his new wife on a beautiful mountain breast favored by celestials. But he doesn't just vanish into the night. He goes through a formal delegation of power. He officially causes Vasishtha to be proclaimed his regent, leaving the rishi in charge of the capital and the whole kingdom. And only then does the king bid farewell and leave for the mountain.
12. Yeah, 12 years. This wasn't just a brief honeymoon vacation. King Samvarana, sporting like a celestial being in the mountain woods, stays completely secluded with his wife for 12 full years. I mean, talk about the ultimate do not disturb sign. But seriously, let that number sink in. That is well over a decade of the sitting king completely ignoring his realm, totally detached from the daily realities and the struggles of his people.
Section 3. The Devastating Drought. The ancient texts are very clear on this point. Nature itself reacts aggressively when a king abandons his post. And this brilliantly illustrates the extreme contrast at the heart of our story. On one side, way up on the mountain peak, you have King Samvarana living in absolute romantic bliss, completely insulated from the world. But on the other side, down in the kingdom, absolute catastrophe strikes. The text tells us that the god of 1,000 eyes, referring to Lord Indra, the god of rain, refuses to pour even a single drop of rain on the kingdom for those exact 12 years. The king's personal paradise directly and tragically parallels his kingdom's descent into hell. The source text really doesn't hold back on describing the grim, visceral escalation of this drought. First, it's not just a lack of rain. It says not even a drop of dew falls from the sky. Without water, obviously, the corn dies and no crops can grow at all. The people, the trees, the animals, they all begin to die fast. And as the severe hunger sets in, society completely collapses. Out of sheer, unimaginable desperation, famished people actually abandon their own wives and children, growing totally reckless toward one another. Eventually, the citizens are reduced to mere skeletons, fleeing their homes in all directions. The text hauntingly describes the once great capital as looking like the city of the king of the dead, populated only by ghostly beings. It is just total, unmitigated ruin.
Section 4. Vasishtha to the rescue.
Right when it seems the kingdom is entirely lost to this ghostly fate, the illustrious Rishi Vasishtha looks upon this ruined capital and decides, you know what, enough is enough. Let's move to Indra and see how this builds on our timeline here. We start at year 1 with the king leaving for his mountain retreat. Then, for an agonizing 12 years, Indra halts the rain, bringing society completely to its knees. But then, in year 12, Vasishtha finally takes action. He leaves the ruined city, travels all the way up to that secluded mountain, and brings the tiger among kings, Samvarana and his wife Tapati, back to the capital. Almost immediately after the king re-enters his city and resumes his proper place, boom, the cosmic order is restored. Indra, the slayer of asuras, instantly pours rain in absolute abundance. It is literally like a switch gets flipped.
As the source text highlights, the transformation is instantaneous and joyful. The kingdom is revivified because the rightful king has finally returned to his duty. The rains come back, causing the corn to grow once more. And to make amends and restore balance, King Samvarana and Tapati then perform sacrifices for another 12 years, mirroring the devotion of Lord Indra himself. The very kingdom that was literally just a city of ghosts is saved, animated once again with extreme joy in life.
Section 5. Birth of the Kuru dynasty.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the etymological payoff. You might be wondering, why does this specific ancient fable matter to Arjuna, the warrior who asked the question in the first place? Well, throughout their conversation, the Gandharva has been referring to Arjuna as Tapatya. As we see in the root of the word, Tapatya literally means a descendant of Tapati. The Gandharva is revealing to Arjuna that this epic story of drought, love, and near annihilation isn't just some random history lesson. No, it is the very history of Arjuna's own bloodline. And here we connect the final dots. From that intense 12-year mountain romance between King Samvarana and Tapati, a son was eventually born. His name was Kuru. Kuru would grow up to be the foremost of ascetics, and more importantly, he would become the founder of the legendary Kuru race. So, when the Gandharva tells Arjuna he is born in the race of Kuru, he is directly tying Arjuna's entire existence to this very fable. Think about that butterfly effect. Without Samvarana, Tapati, and the decisive intervention of Vasishtha to save the kingdom, Arjuna's entire legendary dynasty simply would not exist.
Which leaves us with an incredibly powerful final thought to reflect upon today. Does the heavy burden of leadership mean a ruler's personal joy must always be sacrificed to prevent ruin? King Samvarana tried to have both, right? He officially delegated his power to a capable rishi so he could pursue 12 years of personal happiness. Yet the cosmic order, nature itself, completely rejected his absence, bringing catastrophic suffering to his people until we finally returned to his post. It forces us to ask, can a true leader ever really check out? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder that exact question.